Let's get a bit of a sound bite from South Africa's central bank, or the SARB, leaving its repo rate unchanged today, 3.5%. Of course, that's in line with expectations. The central bank also provided guidance on its inflation outlook. Here is an excerpt of the post-meeting briefing by the Governor, Leseja Kagiago.
The medium and long-term projections set out above, a weaker currency, higher domestic import tariffs, and escalating wage demands present further longer-term upside risks to the inflation forecast. Average surveyed expectations of future inflation remain unchanged at 4.2% for 2021 and 4.4% for 2022. Market-based expectations for inflation are slightly higher for 2021 at 4.4% and stable over longer horizons. With largely unchanged inflation expectations and even with continued upside risks, the committee expects inflation to stay close to the midpoint of the inflation target over the forecast period. Against this backdrop, the MPC decided to keep rates unchanged at 3.5% per annum. The decision was unanimous. The implied policy rate path of the quarterly projection model indicates an increase of 25 basis points in the fourth quarter of 2021 and further increases in each quarter of 2022 and 2023. These repurchase rate levels reflect a highly accommodative policy stance through the end of the forecast, keeping financial conditions supportive of credit demand as the economy continues to recover. The bank has ensured adequate liquidity in domestic markets and will continue to closely monitor funding markets for stress. In addition, regulatory relief provided to banks continues to support lending to households and firms. Better anchored expectations of future inflation could keep interest rates lower for longer and can be realized by achieving a stable public debt level, increasing the supply of energy, moderating administered price inflation, and keeping wage inflation low into the recovery.
Okay, let's take the conversation out of central bank monetary policy meetings into Africa's retail sector, which is largely cash-based, but with solution providers like Cellulant that is changing via digital payments ecosystem that is starting to revolutionize the continent's commerce markets. Akshay Grover is the acting CEO at Cellulant, and he joins me now online for a digital payments conversation. Good to see you, sir. Welcome to the program. Let me just start by asking you about how Cellulant's digital payments are shaping business and commerce across Africa, even during the pandemic period.
Well, actually, I would say that the pandemic has, in a way, been fantastic for financial technology companies like ourselves, because people have realized that they would like to do more and more digital transactions during this period. And we actually see that there's a systemic rise in digital financial transactions over the last 18 to 24 months. And I think it's been driven by the fact that there's a lot more consumer adoption, there's a lot more merchant adoption towards anything which is digital today.
Walk me through the digital payments ecosystem in Africa and how Cellulant fits into that. What role you play?
Yeah, well, I think, I think there are 2 or 3 large buckets here. Bucket number 1 is, where does your money sit? Very simplistically. And that's a mobile money wallet or a bank account, etc. So what we call is the store of value. Yeah. The second important piece is, who are people who are sitting at the back who process a payment or make a transaction happen between one party and another party. And that's a place where payment service providers like Cellulant sit. So we are essentially at the backbone of those transactions, connecting with aggregators, connecting with banks, connecting with bill payers, let me put it, merchants who for whom bills need to be paid, airtime recharge companies, utility companies, any merchant accepting a payment. Yeah. So we are sitting in between the store of value and the merchant, and we are the guys who actually process these transactions.
In terms of transformation, actually, in terms of transformations across the various economies and business sectors in Africa, what are you working on right now? What are you seeing in terms of this transformation, and how are you plugging into this? You said, despite the pandemic, it's been quite good business.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that answer is a very nuanced answer depending on which part of sub-Saharan Africa you're looking at, right? I mean, Nigeria is very different from East Africa, is very different from Zambia, Ghana, and so on and so forth. So I think, the way I look at it is that if I take a Nigerian example, I think one of the things is that you observe that there is a lot of cash transactions that happen in this economy. And what we're trying to do is we're talking to all the large FMCG companies, distribution companies, and we're saying, listen, here's a solution where you do not need a point of sale machine. You don't need to spend $200 to buy this machine. You can use it on your mobile phone, and you can move money from A account to B account without a POS machine. No credit card, no debit card, no swipe, nothing. Just your mobile phone. and and we're seeing a lot of customers saying this is a fantastic solution. We want to implement this across our distribution chains. And so in Nigeria, we are right now talking to all of the large FMCG slash distribution companies as an example, as one example where we see a lot of digitization going ahead in the coming days.
Now, you talk about the various regions. How do the regions in Sub-Saharan Africa rank among themselves in terms of digital payments, e-commerce, and so on? You talk about East Africa different from West Africa, for example. What's peculiar about the West African markets where Nigeria sits as a major hub for majority of the transactions you're talking about or you're dealing with?
Yeah, well, I think the one big difference is that mobile money wallets in West Africa aren't as deeply penetrated as they are in East Africa. So you find that solutions like M-Pesa, MTN Mobile Money, Vodacom, Airtel Money, whatever, all of those are quite deeply entrenched in the eastern part of the continent. But when you look at the West, there are not too many mobile money wallets. It's just a function of how the market has evolved, partly regulation, partly the way the market has evolved. But that doesn't mean in any way that West Africa cannot or is not advanced from a mobile payments or a digital point of view. So we are seeing that our solution is being accepted on a very simple solution, which is bank transfer. People transfer money from one bank account to another account real time today. And our digital solutions are enabling that to happen on the fly using a mobile phone, which makes the user experience very, very easy and simple. So I think the end goal is the same, whether you do it through a mobile money or you do it through a bank transfer, doesn't really matter. The idea is to reduce friction in any payment that's happening.
What are the key challenges within the digital payment system that you're seeing across Africa, broadly speaking?
I mean, I think the one or two big areas where I think there can be a role is I think regulators can play a significant role in making sure that that the ecosystem is very well balanced. And by that I mean that there is a level playing field across the innovative small companies versus the large institutions. And at the same time, that kind of balances along with, let's call it, risk management, compliance, and other areas, right? So I think regulators can play a very important role in driving further on this area. And I actually think that some of the regulators are playing a fantastic role, and I expect that we can see more of that happening in the coming days. That's one area. The second area I feel is that I think in order to drive transaction volume, the cost of the transaction which is being charged to the merchants and to the end consumers needs to reduce. Yeah, and that lies in the hands of the larger institutions, whether it's banks, it's mobile companies, etc. So I think if you enable these two core areas to happen over a period of time, it can significantly drive up digital adoption.
We appreciate your coming through on the show tonight. Akshay Grover, acting CEO at Cellulant. See you some other time and have a great evening.
Fantastic to have been here. Thank you.
Thank you very much.